All right, so welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you saw the previous video, you probably kind of know what we're doing today. In the previous video, we tested out the SC4 Pro versus my Foresight GC2 device. We did kind of an accuracy test with kind of what I would assume is kind of minimum ball flight you would want to use with the SC4 Pro in an indoor environment of 8 feet. So today what we're doing is we're actually going to move the teeing or the hitting location back a foot. So where we've got the red tees on the ground today, we're actually laser measured 9 feet up to the impact screen. And then we've also moved the SC4 Pro device back a foot. So it's laser measured to the impact screen at 14 feet now. All right, so in the demo today, just like the previous one, we're going to basically hit 3 pitching wedges, 3 7-irons, and 3 drivers. I'll kind of comment probably as the shots are going as far as the shot tracers, if they kind of match or if they're wildly different. But as far as all of the metrics and stuff we see at the bottom of the screen, we'll put all those together and we'll kind of compare those kind of at the end of the video and then give the device an accuracy score. And then we'll compare that score and what we've seen against basically the 8-foot video and the numbers in that one. All right, so here we go. First shot with the pitching wedge. All right, so already out the gate, we can kind of see we've got kind of a draw on both devices. So at least the shot shape is looking pretty good on this first shot. Let's hit shot 2 real quick. All right, kind of looking pretty similar to the first shot we just hit, which is pretty typical for me, kind of a little bit of a push draw. So 2 shots in with a pitching wedge, and I already think we're seeing better shot shape so far with this longer ball flight. So hopefully that kind of holds up. All right, so this is the third shot. I'm going to try to hit kind of a fade with this one. All right, so I think I accomplished. I mean, as far as on the Foresight side, you can see that I kind of started it left and we faded it back to the right. Unfortunately, the SC4 still kind of read this with a very slight like draw spin on it, so we don't have matching shot shapes on this third and final shot with the pitching wedge. All right, so we're going to step up to 7-iron now. We're going to try to hit, like I said, 2 draws with the first 2, and then we'll try to hit a fade on the last one here. All right, yeah, I'd say both of them on this one. Shot tracer seems to be kind of a push draw, showing on both devices. All right, try to hit one more of those. Again, we're seeing a push draw, I think, on both devices, but I think we're seeing quite a bit more draw and spin axis on the SC4 device. All right, so third and final shot here with the 7-iron. We'll try to hit a fade. I don't think it was much of a fade even on the Foresight side, but I mean, we did have a little bit of a right spin and right spin axis, so I mean, we did catch a little bit of a fade there. However, like with the pitching wedge, I think we're seeing the same thing on the intentional fade shot with the SC4 Pro. It's still reading it. Basically, it starts left, but then it just continues to go left, like it's almost got draw spin on it. I'd say 4 of the 6 shots so far have kind of seemed to kind of match as far as the shot shape. It's just really the ones that I've been intentionally trying to hit a fade on. The SC4s kind of struggle with those. So now we're going to step up to driver, try to do the same thing. All right, so pretty straight ball flight. I mean, we've got a little bit of a pull initially going left for the Foresight, but then kind of pretty much straight flight after that. And then, it takes off barely to the right on the SC4, and then it kind of has a little bit of right spin. So they both read that differently, but I think this ball probably ends up pretty close to the same area. All right, so here's number 2. So definitely, I feel like we're going to have a mismatch on this one. The Foresight's got this as a draw, slightly kind of a push draw, which is what I was trying to do. And then we've got basically the SC4 starting to the right, kind of like the Foresight, but it's still incorrectly reading the side spin. So it just continues to kind of fade off to the right. All right, so I'm going to choke down a little bit. We'll try to hit a fade or a cut intentionally here. I just don't want to hit the back wall. I think if I choke down on the driver a little bit here, I think we can probably do this. It's looking more kind of just like just a straight pull to the left. Didn't really get across it to get that spin on it. All right, so I would say this one was probably the closest of the three. I mean, they both took off left pretty close to the same angle. Still just very little spin on either device, but the Foresight has it slightly to the left. SC4 has it slightly to the right. The carry number seems to be really close here. So this is by far, I think, the best driver comparison shot that we've had so far. All right, so just quickly looking at kind of those shot shapes, I think it's pretty encouraging. Like we moved it back a foot in ball flight. I feel like, I know out of the 4 out of the 6 iron shots that we hit, shot shape seemed to kind of be a lot closer than it was before. And then I would say even 2 of these here with the driver turned out to be, quite a bit closer than what we saw at 8 foot. But that's just kind of going off shot shape. So let's, jump into the data real quick. All right, so jumping in here to pitching wedge real quick, we're going to compare these numbers that we got in the 9-foot test against the numbers we had in the 8-foot test, just to see kind of what changed. So real quick, right off the bat, we can see that kind of the spin definitely got worse. It was all red on the 9-foot test, whereas at least we had a couple yellows on the 8-foot test. Shot shape really improved, though. We had 2 greens and a yellow, as opposed to the stoplight that we had on the 8-foot test. And then everything else is kind of close to the same. We got the same pretty much on carry and on ball speed. So just because of the worst spin number on the 9-foot test, we ended up with a lower overall shot average accuracy score of 3.42 as opposed to the 3.5 that we got on the 8-foot ball flight test. All right, so as we move on to 7 iron, we see a little bit of kind of somewhat the same, I would say, with pitching wedge. Basically, the only thing I would say that improved from 8 to 9 feet here is the shot shape. We got 2 greens and a yellow versus the 2 yellows and a red on the 8-foot test. Ball speed remained to be really, really good. Spin got worse here, just like it did with the pitching wedge. And then our overall carry numbers, we ended up red on every shot here at 9 feet, which is just kind of puzzling since you would think that things would overall improve as we back this thing up. So on the 7 iron, we ended up with a much lower score, shot average accuracy score of 2.58 versus the 3.42 that we got at 8. Then as we move all the way up to the top of the bag with driver, we can quickly see here that we had a lot of improvement. But to be honest with you, like at 8 feet, it was really bad. So there really wasn't a whole lot of places to go other than probably up or better with 9 feet. But at least we got a couple shots here that had better carry numbers. And we also, on those 2 shots, seemed to have pretty good shot shape. So just because of those 2 metrics here, we ended up with a better overall average shot accuracy score with driver of 2.5 versus the really awful 0.83 that we had at the 8-foot test. All right, and then if we just quickly compare basically all of the clubs and the average score between the 2 tests that we've done so far, we had that 2.58 at 8 feet overall average, but that number was really brought down by that really poor driver score that we had, because we actually did better, I feel like, with pitching wedge and 7 iron at 8 feet than what we saw at 9 feet. It's just the much better driver score really helped boost the overall average number here. We ended up with a 2.83 at 9 feet, which is just barely a little bit better than what we had on the 8-foot test. And then comparing those 2 scores against what we've kind of previously showed as far as the MLM2 Pro and all of its softwares, we still have a ways to go to try to catch up to the MLM2 Pro. Hopefully when we move back to 10 feet in the next video, that is basically the recommended minimum ball flight distance by Voice Caddie when hitting into a net, at least in the FAQ section of the manual. So hopefully when we move back to 10 feet, we'll see this number increase drastically, and maybe we can get really close to some of those numbers we had with the MLM2 Pro. All right, everybody, that's going to kind of do it for the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed the content or even got something out of it. If you did, make sure to give the video a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, please go ahead and do so. Help the channel out. If you are, I appreciate you guys' support. We're going to do another video in this series here in the next couple days. I should have it uploaded. It'll be a 10-foot ball flight test. But again, want to thank you again for watching the video today. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.